Hello, this is a Bluthner style 8-gram piano that we have in stock, 6 foot 3 inches, that's 190 centimeters. Now, as you can see, there's quite a lot of fading on the front part of the piano here. The piano's been refinished, and this is the underside of the lid, gives more idea of what the colour should be. And here's the top of the piano, again fading at the front, but in the middle you can see the colour of the piano, and there's some beautiful veneer on it. Side of the piano here is less faded, and as you can see, the veneer is very promising. So we can repolish it like this Steinway upright that we've repolished recently, and repolishing for £1 takes about 70 hours, so it's not inexpensive, but it's proper French polishing that we do. Try to all the traditional methods we use, including the 30 coats of French polish, and then afterwards antique waxing to bring out the best in the grain. Now, this Bluthner's also had changed legs. They used to be turned legs, and also the lyre here used to be a turned lyre. Now, I'm pretty certain that this is a Bluthner restoration, their own restoration, back in the 1960s. That's when they often did replace the legs and lyre. And if we look here, this is another telltale sign to me. I've seen that most Bluthners have this badge on them that is not commensurate with the date. The date of this is 1899. There's a serial number on the right there, but you can see that there's a date, 1929 is the last one on there. So not quite sure why they did that, but the decal here isn't the original one. So they've fully restored the piano. The soundboard is perfect. The finish on it, the painting on the top of it is very, very slightly crazed, but the soundboard itself has no cracks. It's in perfect condition. And the stringing is done to the highest possible standards. The keys are also one-piece ivory. In other words, there's no join in the middle as there would have been on the original key tops. These are replacement one-piece ivory, absolutely perfect and very pretty. One thing we look for when we decide whether to fully restore a piano or not is whether the tuning pins are tight, and these are very tight. So Bluthner's are one of the best pianos for stability on tuning as well. There's absolutely no need to replace these. Now, we very often do fully restore, and here's a Bechstein that has had new tuning block and new tuning pins, so that's like a new piano, but obviously it's really costly to do that. Now, the piano's had recovered hammers, and they've been voiced really well, so the tone of it is exactly as the Bluthner should be. There's really very little sign of wear since the piano was being reconditioned, so that's encouraging. This is a Bluthner patent action, that's with this L-shaped spring, different from the later actions, but exactly what you'd expect. All Bluthner Grands up to about 1924 have patent actions and have a famous touch that Bluthner lovers really appreciate. It's a nice smooth touch, and it's different from any other make, really. So that's why Bluthner's were so many people are so fond of them. So that's a Bluthner grand piano, 6 foot 3 inches long, 190 centimeters, style 8, and really one of the best grand pianos you can possibly buy of that length. We haven't repolished this piano yet. I'm making a video now because there's such a love for these pianos that I'm likely to sell it without repolishing it, because internally is absolutely perfect. And it's making a beautiful, rich, warm sound. The tuning pins are very tight. Tuning on Bluthners is always extremely stable. One of the most stable pianos you can buy. Has a very lush tone here, as you can hear in the treble, and everywhere throughout the piano. Very even, very lush sound, and if you're used to Bluthners, you'll know what I mean. It's unique, really, and the touch is beautiful. It's just very, very smooth, slightly lighter than a modern touch, very, very friendly to play. Thank you very much for listening. Hello, since making the video, we've decided to repolish the piano as it's such a fine instrument, and as you can see, we're going to replace the legs. If we really want to have original casework if we're repolishing, so legs and lyre. I've got the legs in the polishing room. There's the lyre. I just wanted to make an observation here. The lyre is actually slightly longer than the original. Hopefully we can bring the pedals down, because one thing about Bluthners is the pedals tend to be slightly higher than we would ideally like. The reason being, we would like lower pedals so that for tall people we can raise the casters up a bit. I went to a Bluthner in someone's house recently, and they put caster cups under, even ½ an inch. Raises the pedals up too high sometimes, so that's an important factor, really. Here's another Bluthner, slightly younger Bluthner we got in stock, just come back in from rental actually, and those pedals are a bit on the high side. The top of the pedal just under 6.5 centimetres. There's a Yamaha upright 5.5 centimetres. The Bechstein Grand, as I mentioned before, the best of the lot, just under 4 centimetres. So we're looking forward to repolish this Style 8, which has a wonderful veneer on it, wonderful rosewood. You can see how differing rosewood is, and once that's polished over, you get a beautiful contrasting grain. The piano is now in the polishing room, and about 70 hours work's been done to strip it down, and then about 30 coats of polish, finished off by antique waxing. So it's a long job, but my colleague and our friend who's the polisher is very artistic, and as you can see, there's actually haven't added anything to the original rosewood colour, whereas Bluthner's would have done. We've just made it natural rosewood. I'm focusing in on this rail because it's so different, so contrasting. If you felt that was too contrasting, it wouldn't be a problem for us to match it in with the rest of the piano, but that is the natural colour, and in fact the top lid reflects it, as you'll see in a minute. Now here's the top lid of the piano. As we work towards the back, you'll see that we have a similar light rosewood colour there. That's just rosewood. It's so varying really. You go right from almost black to this very light wood colour. I'm particularly fond of the fall. That's what we call the bit that closes over the keys. There's the name Bluthner, and I think that's a very special veneer indeed. There's the top of the fall, very similar. And the sides of the piano, again, extremely interesting varied veneer. There's the curved in part of it, and we'll go around the back. I haven't got a lot of room here unfortunately, but get around as far as we can. So around to the back of the piano. And then the long side, I'm sorry we're doing it in the polishing room, but we're quite stocked up at the moment, and it's the best space we've got for videoing. Remember we talked about pedal height. Well, we're very pleased to have been able to get it down to Bechstein pedal height. 4 centimetres, in fact, the minimum Bechstein pedal height, and it's ideal. We've had to increase the length of the rods in order to do that. But now we can raise up the casters by 1 inch without it feeling uncomfortable on the pedals. So this is the caster cup that we put underneath, and fits perfectly. Just to say, we wouldn't have been able to do this without changing the pillars themselves. But remember, we had modernised pillars. Now we put the authentic older ones on. In doing that, we were actually able to gain about 1.5 centimetres here. So you may find that you don't need the caster cups in the end anyway. Though if you're very tall, that would probably be very helpful. And finally, remember the inside. It has been restored by Bluthner's. I don't have any doubt about that. The pin block's also been done, and this has been cleaned up by us. So this isn't new strings, but my colleague who does the polishing is also very, very good at cleaning. So one final look. I really do want to encourage you to think about these Bluthner's. There's a patent action, which is what they all were up to about 1925, and for good reason. They do feel very, very special to play. They're ideal domestic pianos, and look at the veneer on them too. Thank you very much for watching. Just making a postscript to this video because I realised that on the video itself the colours look different, but as you can see I'm just showing you that the front and the side are the same colour, because looking at the video it makes the side look lighter, but the legs are darker. That's normal. You'll find it all originally they would have been darker as well. And I forgot to also say, I didn't say properly, that we gained the 1.5 centimetres keyboard height because we changed the legs, and we brought the pillars down as well. So it's the legs being changed and slightly 1.5 centimetres more, which means we got more leg room. So let's just have a look around the side to finish off with, and you'll see the colour is the same. Again, the light's falling on it differently, but the colour is exactly the same there as it is on the front and on the music stand. Thank you very much.